Well, I'm going to try to take a video of this lesson. We'll see if it works here. While I'm getting this ready, I want to make sure that you have all your notes, that your iPad has been put away. And let's see here, you can read that. Nope. We're going to get there. Okay. By now, hopefully your iPads are put away, you have your notes out. You should be taking notes during this video because it's just like a lesson that I would give if I were here in the classroom. You'll definitely want a calculator in part of this. And so if you need to, pause this video and get everything that you need. First two things I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the two of the questions that you guys had. You didn't do so well on last night's homework, number 28 and number 39. So we're going to start with number 28, and I know you probably can't see that very well, but I'm going to read it to you. The function y equals negative 16x squared plus 36 represents the height, y in feet, of an apple, x seconds after falling from the tree. Find and interpret the x and y intercepts. As a reminder, the x-intercept is when y equals 0. And so all you have to do to start this is just do 0 for y equals negative 16x squared plus 36. I would get the 16x squared over to the other side because I'm going to try to isolate it. So 16x squared equals 36. Divide each of those by 16, so x squared is by itself, equals 36 over 16. Do the square root, and x is going to equal plus or minus, is that 6 over 4, which is the same thing as 3/2, which is the same thing as 1.5. However, does it make sense to have a negative 1.5 in this particular situation? And the answer is no, because we're talking about seconds. And so right here, when it says the x-intercept is, the x is 1.5, this means that the apple hits the ground after 1.5 seconds. The y-intercept, well, you guys know that the c value, we've talked about that, which in this case is the 36, that is your y-intercept. So 36. If you didn't know that, you could have put 0 in for x, and you would have found that y equals 36. And this means the apple fell from a height of 36 feet. That's all we needed for that problem. Let's go on to the next problem. This was number 39. 2 acorns fall to the ground from an oak tree. Acorn 1 falls 45 feet, while the acorn 2 falls 32 feet. For each acorn, write an equation that represents the height in feet as a function of the time in seconds. And so this is that equation that I told you better take home, because you probably weren't going to memorize it right away. And so h equals, for the first one, negative 16t squared plus the height that fell from, 45. Acorn 2, h equals negative 16t squared plus the height it fell from, which was 32. Describe how the graphs of the two equations are related. The graph of acorn 2 is A. What do you have? Should be vertical. Translation. How far apart are these? 13 units. And acorn 2 was further down. So down. There you go. Not too hard. All right. I want to talk to you just for a sec about the graphs that we've done so far. If you look at the blue one, right here, you'll see that the blue one represents the y equals ax, where we didn't add a c. And in each of these cases, obviously we haven't had the bx section yet. If you look at the green one, you're going to see that we said plus c because it's going higher, it's a vertical translation up. And the red one is a vertical translation down. That's why I put minus c. But all of them, what is the axis of symmetry? Just say it out loud. Hopefully you said x equals 0. because in all of those cases, the line of symmetry is that y-axis, which is x is 0 on anything on the y-axis. Today, though, we're going to start 8.3, and part of 8.3 is graphing things that have that bx term inside of it. And I'll show you this. I haven't given you the equation for this yet, but I want you to look at this graph, this parabola. Is the line of symmetry still x equals 0? No. It looks like it's x equals 3. So how do I find that? When I look at an equation, how do I find that? Right now is a good time to pause, go into the other video that I have, and then to come back to this one after you finish watching that video. Okay, hopefully you did that. And you'll find that the line of symmetry has a formula. Hopefully you wrote that down. X equals negative b over 2a. And one of the questions I had in second period is, where did you get the b? Where did you get the 2a? Well, let's start with the original equation. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, I'm getting the b from here. And I'm getting the a from here. So to find the line of symmetry, the c value doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't matter what the c value is. Alrighty? So let me give you an example of an equation. We'll find the line of symmetry. And I'm going to do y equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 9. And again, that plus 9 is not going to change anything. And so the formula is x equals negative b over 2a. And immediately I want you to see that 4 is already negative. So what's a negative 4? Hopefully you said positive 4. Yeah. So positive 4 over 2 times my a value, which is 2. Well, 4 over 2 times 2, 4 over 4 is a 1. So in this case, the line of symmetry is x equals 1. Bam. The next thing I want to talk to you is, how do I find the vertex? We've got the line of symmetry. Well, do you remember that the vertex, if I have I'm going to get a pen here. If I have a parabola like this, the line of symmetry goes right through the middle of the vertex. And so we know the vertex in this one is going to be 1 something. The only question is, what is that something? How would you solve that? How would you find the y? Pause this for a minute and just talk to your partners about how you would figure out what the y value is. Okay, did you do that? All right, I want to try to shrink this a little bit. Ooh, I got something here. Looks like part of a Y. All right. Well, this is what you do. You just plug the x value right into that equation, exact equation. So I'm going to say y equals 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 9. Now I'm going to actually do the math right here because I don't have a calculator, but you should have a calculator. You should go faster than me on this one. Y equals, well, 2 times 1 squared is 2 minus 4 plus 9. So y equals 2 minus 4 is negative 2 plus 9. So I got a 7. Is that what you got? Hopefully. All right, if y equals 7, then what is my vertex? Because remember, vertex is an address. Well, the vertex then would be my x value and my y value. Just like that. All right. Now I'm videotaping this and I'm not pausing it, so I'm hoping that I'm right there. Let me check this again. Wish I had a calculator in my hand. 2 minus 4 is negative 2 plus 9. Yep. Alrighty. So I want you to do another one now. Except this time I'm going to write the equation down, and I want you to, again, pause the video and try to do it on your own first, and then we'll compare answers. So here we go. Y equals 3x squared plus 12x minus 5. All right, pause the video. Do it. If you don't pause the video, it's going to look like I'm going to go right into it. Okay, to find my line of symmetry, which is the first one, x equals negative b over 2a, which means I have x equals negative 12 over 2 times 3. So x equals, let's see, negative 12 divided by 6 is a negative 2. I'll put a box around that because it's one of my answers. Then I'm going to put the negative 2 back into this equation. 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 minus 5. I'm going to run out of room here. And again, because I don't have a calculator in front of me, I'm going to do this. You go ahead and do it. Hopefully you've already done it on your calculator. But I have negative 2 squared is 4, so 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times negative 2 is a negative 24, so minus that, minus 5. So that's negative 12 minus 5. I have a negative 17. Do you? And then I'm going to have a negative 2, negative 17 as my vertex. Okay. One of the things I tell my honors students, or you are my honors students, but I tell my academic team, because they're doing this is one of the things they have to do for the competition, is I tell them that when they're going to put in a negative number to be squared, be fast. Just put in a positive number to be squared. So in this case, I would have put 3 times 2 squared. And the reason is because your calculator is so smart that if you put 3 times negative 2 squared and you do not put those parentheses, it's going to give you a wrong answer, or at least wrong, but not the answer that you should have had. So if you don't want to do those parentheses for the squared, go ahead and put it in as a positive number. Now don't do that where you see the 12 times negative 2. That would be not right. Alrighty, I'm going to give you another one here. It's a little bit more difficult because of squaring the number. Y equals negative x squared plus 7x minus 1. All right. Pause the video, please. Try to do this on your own, and then come back to the video. All right, x equals negative b over 2a, which is x equals negative 7 over 2 times negative 1. You notice that in front of the x would be a negative 1, correct? All right. Ooh, that means it's a positive 7/2, which is the same thing as 3.5. And I think in this situation with the worksheet, when you run into a fraction, just go ahead and use the decimal. That's going to make it a little bit easier for you when you use the calculator. Now, when you put in the 3.5 in there, I would suggest writing negative 1 times 3.5 squared. If you put negative 3.5 squared, you'll probably get it right, but if the 3.5 was negative, things would get kind of messy. So I would just do that. Plus 7 times 3.5 minus 1. Yes. Now I'm going to have to get my calculator out. Hopefully you've already done this. Watch me show up in the video. Alrighty. So, I have negative 1 times 3.5 squared plus 7 times 3.5 minus 1 equals, did you get 11.25? That's what I got. All right. And then I'll have 3.5, 11.25 as my vertex. Alrighty, whoops. The last thing I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to do number 1 with you on the worksheet. And so pause the video again and let's get those worksheets passed out to everybody. And then restart the video as soon as everybody has a worksheet. Okay. Number 1 on your worksheet is y equals 3x squared minus 24x minus 7. So the first thing I want you to do is just do the line of symmetry. X equals, let's see, negative b would be negative 24, which is positive 24, all over 2a, so 2 times 3. And that would be 24 divided by 6, which is a 4. There you go. So this worksheet's asking for 2 questions, the line of symmetry and the vertex. For that reason, I want you to put a box around those 2 different answers. So put a box around your x equals 4. Then underneath it, I want you to put y equals, and you just put down what you're going to put in your calculator. That way I'm not asking you to do all the math in your head. Minus 7, just like that. Throw it in a calculator. I'll give you a couple seconds. I'm singing the Jeopardy song in my head right now. Okay, did you get negative 55? If you did, you are correct. And so my vertex is not negative 55. My vertex is the x value and the y value. Put a box around that, and you are done with number 1. That means you have, what is that? 11 more problems on the front. And in the back, I want you to do the back last. But the back side has 4 questions that either deal with today's lesson, yesterday's lesson, and even one might deal with lesson that we had back in chapter 7. This needs to be done by tomorrow, so whatever you don't get done in class will be homework. Alrighty, hopefully you got all that.